Hey everybody, welcome back. So I decided to do sort of a mini review on the new Creepshow release. So I even changed the color on my LED lighting to get a little red, a little Creepshow lighting on me, as it were. As I've mentioned before in several videos, the Creepshow release from Scream Factory has been my most anticipated release of the year because Creepshow is one of my all-time favorite films. Been a huge fan of it since I saw it when I was really young, and over the years I've collected a lot of stuff for it. So I have like the couple posters for it. I have the US teaser poster and the theatrical one sheet. I'm currently getting signatures on the teaser poster. I've gotten several so far, but there's still obviously a lot more that I'd like to get on it. I have the Italian poster. I have the amazing French poster, and both the Italian and the French posters are huge. I mean, they're like the French poster. Actually, they might both be the same size. I think they're both 47 inches across and 63 inches long. So, yeah. I also have the lobby card set, and I have the original press kit that has also like a ton of stills and everything. And like I mentioned in my birthday video, I bought myself one of the animation cells from the opening of the film, which is still like, I mean, again, every time I look at it, it's just incredible. I even have my little, what I call my Creepshow shelf, which has a bunch of odds and ends on it. It's like, it has my original VHS tape, has my comic book version that I've had since I was a kid. It's got autographs. It's got the more recent little figures that were put out by Amok Toys, if I remember correctly, and some pins and some just really other kind of cool stuff I have. And again, that VHS is the one I had when I was a kid. It was one of the first VHS I ever got. It's the original first release VHS, because when I was a kid, I became so obsessed with the film that I begged my parents to get me the VHS, which I'm surprised they did. And of course, I've had Creepshow in like almost every other format. I had the Laserdisc, several DVD copies. I had the original Warner Brothers. I had the UK, which was when a lot of those early extras were produced. I have a bootleg of some of the VHS stuff that Tom Savini shot, even though now that's available to watch. But I got that something like 15, maybe not 15 years ago, but definitely like 12 years ago or something. It was a long time ago, before any of that stuff you could find on like YouTube or anything, let alone on these other releases. And then obviously the original Warner Brothers Blu-ray. So getting to this release, I'm just going to kind of go over a couple of the quick things, some of the pluses, some of the minuses, and everything. Good news is the minuses are minimal, and actually they may not even affect most of you if you haven't ordered the film yet. So on the plus side, the packaging itself is really nice. It's using a hard box, very similar to what they did with the original Nightbreed release, or what Arrow does with some of their deluxe editions. It's not quite on par with the Arrow, more so with the Nightbreed kind of thing, but it's still nice. Like, I kind of wish they would actually do these box versions for some of their bigger collector's editions. Of course, that's just more of a personal thing. It holds everything really nice. It comes with obviously the Blu-ray and a very nice booklet. The nice thing about the what they did with the insert on the Blu-ray is obviously it has a reversible cover. It has a one sheet, and it has the teaser poster for Creepshow, which is fantastic. I love that they not only gave you a choice in those, unlike other releases from any company, they're actually completely different, even the way they're laid out. So for example, the one sheet version is obviously in a color scheme that sort of matches, and it also has pictures from each story on the back that has all the details and everything. And then on the one that uses the teaser poster, the whole thing is red, so it matches, and they use different pictures from the stories, and it's even laid out a little different, like where the Roger Ebert quote is, for example. That's actually really cool. I really love that they did that. Now, for me, I decided to go with the teaser poster because the Warner Brothers one used the one sheet, so just to kind of be different. And plus, I love the teaser poster artwork, so I decided to kind of go with that one. But I love that the option is there. So the outer box has the new art, and then the insert on the actual Blu-ray has both the original artwork for the teaser and the one sheet. The booklet that came with it is really great. It's several pages, and it has a lot of information on it, a lot of great pictures in it, and a lot of cool info on the film. There's a lot in there. I mean, it's a fantastic booklet. That's the kind of thing that, again, sort of makes releases like this sort of take it to another level. Now, I haven't gotten to all of the extras yet, so although I highly doubt this would change my mind. I mean, I've gone through some of them, and I just have to say, I mean, the extras on here are incredible. I mean, they really put a lot of effort into getting the extras. There's several commentary tracks. There's so many interviews with so many people involved. Obviously, the only thing missing would have been if they were able to include the Just Desserts documentary that was on the UK one from 2007, I think, or something. But obviously, because that has already been licensed to Synapse, that did the single release of that, there was no way they could include it on here. I mean, that basically would have made I think an absolute perfect package where you literally could probably have nothing else, on there. The Synapse release you can get, I think, fairly cheaply. It's worth picking up. The documentary, I think, is almost 90 minutes. It's a great documentary. And that release also has a lot of cool extras. One of the main things that I was very happy was on there was the Scream Greats release that was all about Tom Savini. That was done way back in 1986. That I used to watch that a ton when I was a kid. I mean, it would have been great if they were able to work out a deal with Synapse and actually include the disc in this release as well, like a second disc. That isn't a deal breaker for me. I mean, it would have been nice, but still, there's still a ton of extras on this disc. And again, with the commentary tracks, I mean, if you have this release and you have the Just Desserts release from Synapse, like, you have pretty much everything Creepshow. I mean, it's just, and I highly recommend having both of those. And obviously for the film itself, which is kind of the main thing here, the transfer that they've done is stunning. They transferred this film from the original camera negative, and the actual negative. It's not like in some, like, I know the recent Halloween 2 release, it was originally said it was going to be from the negative, and they ended up doing a transfer from the inner positive. Creepshow is done from the negative, and you can see it is just gorgeous, and had Michael Gornick, the cinematographer, oversee the transfer and sign off on it and everything. And there's even a little thing, a little interview with him in the extras about doing the restoration and the transfer and everything. The transfer alone is worth the price of the film. If you're any kind of fan of the film, like I am especially, it's a must-have. You absolutely have to have it just for the transfer on it. The audio, and this is where I'm going to transition into the negatives. So there's two audio options on the disc. There's a 2.0 stereo mix, which is the original theatrical mix. It sounds great. It has a nice full sound. The disc also comes with a remixed 5.1 track, which unfortunately is a bit problematic. I don't mind remixes, actually, and a lot of times I actually really like remixes because most of the time they are done well. I don't like them in place of the original audio. I don't mind that being another option on a release, especially, sometimes for like action films, for example, there are a lot of times they're done really well. In a case like this, the 5.1 remix was not done too well, and I'm not really sure why. It's very flat sounding. I saw some people online complaining, saying that it sounds like it's a higher pitched sound. What it sounds to me actually is they put on some audio filters to try and clean up probably the audio tracks to do the mix. And what happens is it seems like it sort of took off a lot of the range in the sound, specifically on the low end. I think that's what really kind of surprised me. And it's probably where some people are assuming it's a pitch issue, is that the low end is gone. And even though it's a 5.1 mix, but the problem is, and it's not that there isn't stuff going on with the subwoofer, but I noticed a lot, especially with dialogue. And going back and forth between the stereo track and the 5.1 track, it was noticeable. Like there was a flatness to it. I was using something to tide you over as a specific one, so I could hear them between Leslie Nielsen and Ted Dancing as they were going back and forth. Is it terrible? I think some people are making a really big deal out of it. No, it's not terrible. I mean, if I had watched it with a 5.1, I'm trying to think whether or not, like, if I watched it from the get-go without any knowledge, because I saw ahead of time that people were complaining about it, Would I have noticed? I don't know. I think the reason why I noticed it is because I was listening for it, and again, I was doing the direct comparison. But the fact of the matter is, it's just very flat sounding. I highly recommend using the 2.0 stereo track as the way to watch. The main problem I have with this is the fact that the 5.1 is the default audio on it. If the stereo track was the default on this and not the 5.1 and it was just there as an option, I probably would have been like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to listen to it ever again. So I have no problem with it. I don't like the fact that the 5.1 is the default. Maybe the 5.1 is fine. I saw a couple of people who watched it with the 5.1 mix and they didn't have a problem with it. As a fan of the film and how good the audio sounds, I highly recommend watching it with the 2.0 stereo track. So the mix is really kind of the main thing. These other things are more if you pre-ordered it like I did early on, and I pre-ordered it like the moment it went on sale. There's obviously, I'm sure some of you have seen this online, there are some issues with, and this isn't just Creepshow, it's affecting other releases as well, but obviously orders are delayed because there was the replication plant closure and everything had to go to another plant and everything. I think I'm going to do a whole other video on the entire situation that seems to be going on. I don't want to try and just throw that in there. I am just going to say, though, obviously my order was delayed. Technically, we were supposed to get it 2 weeks early. Obviously, with the delay, it pushed it back. I mean, the release date was Tuesday the 23rd. I got mine on Friday the 26th. It's annoying. It's not really that big of a deal. I mean, at least I got it. I'd say the only thing is the fact that they shipped orders in like reverse order. So people who ordered it early on with the posters and everything, they got theirs last, and that's more, I think, what's angering a lot of us. And beyond that, the posters are arriving damaged. And I was seeing some people, posting pictures and everything. And now most of the stuff I've gotten from Shout Factory / Scream Factory, on occasion, some of the posters have been kind of dinged, but nothing too bad. I've never gotten anything that actually has been too bad. Trick or Treat arrived, and that was, that had some creases in it, but not too bad. I mean, I put it in a frame and it actually looks good. Creepshow, on the other hand, didn't show up too well. The lithograph showed up and it's got some dents in it, but luckily they don't really seem too noticeable. Luckily, because the lithograph is a little bit thicker and it's got and the coloring on it, you can't really see it. So I think I'm just happy the way it is. I'm hoping I can get it into a frame at some point. Now the accompanying poster, which is it's much more in line with their other posters, the regular kind of glossy posters, that one did not arrive in good shape. It's wrinkled, it's got nicks in it. That one really did not show up in good shape. I mean, and I was like, wow, maybe it's not too bad, because you could look at it on one angle and it was just, actually, I think it's okay. I can see some nicks, but it's not too bad. But the thing is, the moment you have any sort of light directly on it, you can see all the crimpling on it. And the thing is, that's coming from their shipping plant, which is the one in Kentucky, it's basically they're rolling these things so harshly and just throwing them into tubes that they're bad shape going into the tubes before they're shipped out. Again, I'll get into that in another video, but unfortunately, I'm happy the lithograph isn't too bad. I'm kind of upset that my regular poster did not show up in good shape. Also, some people have complained that there's what appears to be box cutter slashes in their cases, meaning, again, at the shipping factory, as the shipping company, as they're slashing open boxes, they're basically just doing it really fast and they're slicing. I saw a picture of one person on the Bluray.com boards who posted a picture, and the slash went right through on the back, went through the case into the booklet and the Blu-ray. I looked at mine, and mine definitely has a little gash on the edges. Luckily for me, the booklet and the Blu-ray case are fine. It's just those little nicks. I can live with the nicks. They're not noticeable, and actually I didn't even notice them until I saw his picture, and I went and looked at mine, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I see that. It's not an excuse. They shouldn't be there. So my overall impression is the fact that it is an amazing release. The negative aspects, unfortunately, just sort of hamper that just slightly, but at the end of the day, the transfer that is on this disc, all the extras, And, despite the little slash, the packaging is really nice. This was my most anticipated release of the year. It has lived up to that. With everything that you're getting, I definitely say this is very much worth it. When you watch the film, I don't know whether or not there's going to be a replacement for the 5.1. My guess would be no. The thing is, there's nothing wrong with the 2.0 stereo track. So when you watch the film, watch it with the 2.0 stereo track. The extras are great. If you're a huge fan of the film like I am, go out and get the Synapse release of the Just Desserts and make your Creepshow collection complete. I would say despite the 5.1 issue, take that out of the equation, or hell, take it off the disc. This is the kind of release that I want more of from Scream Factory. It's like you can tell how much work was put into it. They need to figure out some of these other issues that are kind of going on as far as, some of their quality control issues and the issues with the with the posters and the weird shipping habits. I mean, some of that needs to get worked out and whatnot. From just a release standpoint, though, this is a fantastic release. If you're a Creepshow fan, a George Romero fan, horror film fan, an anthology film fan, I mean, this is like, I cannot recommend this release enough. So if you picked it up, let me know your thoughts. If you plan on picking it up, again, leave out some of the Scream Factory stuff, complaints and stuff, because I'm going to get to that in another video. Kind of keep it more just to Creepshow on this. Although if you do have it and you listen to the 5.1 track, definitely let me know your thoughts on that. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.